Lyon College football is on the air. Good Saturday to you. We are in Langston, Oklahoma, taking on the Langston Lions. The Coach Casey Creehan Show, a service of the Lyon College Kilted Army. Be sure you log on to lionscots.com and see how you can support our student athletes here at Lyon College. Coach Creehan, feels good to get a W, doesn't it?
It does. The kids played hard and they fought all the way to the end, and hats off to them for their, the way they battled.
Well, let's mention it early. I think we've talked about Nacho about every pregame show that we've had you in here too, but he's clutch. He really is.
He is, and you know what I always say, there's no one else I'd rather have than him, and he just proved it again, and The kicks that he can make, the punts that he can make, the way he can flip field position, he's definitely a weapon.
Well, Coach, let's talk a little bit about your defense. You being the defensive coordinator, I know that's yes, you're the head man. You take pride when your entire team does well, but your defense, I think we pressured their quarterback extremely well and maybe even rattled him a little bit because this guy, he's coming in, everything that I've read about him, I mean, he's spot on everywhere, and we made him make some mistakes.
We did, and that's definitely a credit to how hard our kids played, and he was able to gain some passing yards on us, more than we would like to give up, but we were able to pressure him. We were able to rattle him a little bit, and at the end of the day, he threw 27 incompletions, which was the most he's thrown all season by far. So, we had his completion percentage down around 50%. And anytime you can do that to a passing team, you've got a chance to make some stops. And we did. We didn't make stops every time, but we made enough to win the game.
Absolutely, you did. And, I'm sure looking back on film, you got to tip your hat to their receiving core as well. Not only did their quarterback, he's able to lay the ball where he wants to, but they go up and they make catches.
Well, there were times we were right in the hip pocket of their receivers and had perfect coverage, really, and their receivers went up and got the ball. And then there were other times when they caught a pass and they broke 3, 4, sometimes 5 tackles to extend plays and gain more yards than they probably should have. So they were definitely a talented offense with a lot of really big weapons on that offense.
But also, you had some big weapons, especially in the defensive secondary, too. A lot of those incompletions, we were getting between the receiver and the ball. We were batting them down.
We were. And, credit to Coach Kent and what he's been able to do with his guys back there, and he's they're playing some good tight man coverage at times and breaking on the ball well in zone, and that's what you got to do to be successful back there.
One thing I saw, and I did mention it in the post game show, but I want to mention it again here, is you kind of went with a little bit different defensive scheme where you brought Stephen Benedict up closer to the line. I think you had Cam Collins out playing that safety position too. Talk a little bit about that game plan.
Well, one of the things that we knew on tape was they would try to exploit a linebacker on a running back matchup, and we tried to give them different looks and different ways of handling their back out of the backfield. We, like you said, we used Steven and we dropped him down from his safety spot some. We peeled our end some. We mixed it up on how we were handling the back, and so that helped us, especially early in the game, because I think they had a game plan. Well, you could see off tape they had a game plan to try and exploit their back and get him mismatched a little bit. So we were able to do a few different things that way to take that back away in the passing game.
Coach Casey Creehan visiting with us. We're on the road in Langston, Oklahoma. And, Coach, we tend to play well at home. We tend to play a little bit less than well on the road. We're going to talk about that, being that we only have three ball games left, about where your mindset is there and where the guys' mindset is playing on the road. And we'll do that right after this 2-minute timeout. Back for Lyon College football on the road in Langston, Oklahoma. The Coach Casey Creehan Show, a service of the Lyon College Kilted Army. You want to be part of the Army? Hey, just log on to lionscots.com. Support our student athletes at lionscots.com and be a member of the Kilted Army. Well, Coach, we've got several road games under us. We've got several home games under our belts too. And we talk about that home field advantage. You talk about it in high school ball. You talk about it in college ball. You talk about it in the pros, too. I mean, there is a distinct advantage of being able to sleep in your own bed, not have to get on that bus, and do all those things that you do on the road. However, going in and facing an opponent like we are today in the Langston Lions, they're top in the league. They've only got one loss under their belts, and that's to a Division I team as well. You know, how have you prepared, knowing how your guys have played on the road in the past?
Yeah, we have had a couple of rougher road trips this year, but we felt like in the last time on the road out in Wayland, we played a pretty good ball game, and, we battled a little bit of adversity and came up short. That's one we'd have liked to have, but we felt like we played better as a unit. We did start off slow in that game and had to play a little bit of catch-up. There's some things you can do in practice to try to change it up on the guys and see if you can spark something and get them going faster in games. And, we're doing some things as a staff to maybe help that. But at the end of the day, it's like I tell the team all the time, the environment might change, but we can't change. We have to, no matter where you're playing, whether it's a parking lot or in, Wayland Baptist or Langston, you've got to be out and you've got to be ready to go when it's time. And, there's some things we can do as coaches and try and drill some things differently. But at the end of the day, each man and each coach has got to get himself ready to go play on the road. I mean, that's part of life in this business.
This is not high school ball. We're not talking 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. We are talking about 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old young men. We are. But, coming off a big game like we have, the adversity against Wayland Baptist on the road, huge win in the last few seconds of the ball game last week, too. How is our mindset right now going to face against the top team in the league?
Well, one of the things that I think this team has proven to themselves is we can play with anybody in the league. We've also proven we can get beat badly by a good team in this league. And it's like I always say, the issue is it's always going to be us and it's never going to be the opponent. So, it's nice. It is a momentum game, and it's nice to have a little momentum coming out of last week's ball game. But at the end of the day, last week's game doesn't score us any points in this week's game. So we got to come out and start fresh and do all the little things and be detailed in what we do and execute.
Let's take another 2-minute timeout real quick, Coach, and we're going to talk more about Langston and what you feel like are the keys to the game to bring home a win on the road for the Lyon College Scots, and we'll do that right after this 2-minute timeout. Lyon College football on the air. Langston University in Langston, Oklahoma is where we are, taking on the Langston Lions. It's the Coach Casey Creehan Show, a service of the Lyon College Kilted Army. Lionscots.com. Be sure you go online there, click on the icon, and support our student athletes with Lyon College by becoming a member of the Lyon Kilted Army. Coach, top team in the league. They've been defeated only by one Division I team this year. High-powered offense, would you say?
Yeah, very high-powered offense. That's very fair to say. When you look at this team, they've scored a lot of points on everybody they've played. They've given up a fair amount of points. I mean, not that they don't play well on defense, but their offense has really won some shootouts. So, to have a chance in this game, you have to be detailed and you have to play right and play up to par on the defensive side of the ball.
What are some of their offensive schemes that you see on film?
Well, I mean, the one thing is they mix it up well, which most good offenses do. I mean, they have a quarterback who's thrown for a lot of yards this year, but he's also very mobile and versatile out of the pocket, and he's able to run around. They do run some spread option type runs with him and let him run some, and then obviously in the drop back game he scrambles well. But they throw the ball a fair amount. They'll throw it all over the field, but they aren't afraid to mix in the run, and they keep you balanced. I mean, they keep it balanced. They try to keep you off balance defensively.
What about on defense? What's your offense going to see?
Well, our offense is going to see they're going to see a team that's primarily a four-down team with a really stout linebacker who's going to come down and make some plays and be physical. Occasionally they'll jump into a 30 front and try and give you some different looks that way. And then in the back end, I mean, they mix all the same coverage as you see typically in a week. I mean, 4, 2, 3 man, they mix that back there. But their defense, like I said, primarily a 4-down team that'll get into a 3-down and mix it up a little bit.
Have you had to make any major adjustments in the last couple of weeks? I know week to week you don't like to look ahead of time, but I'm sure in the back of your mind, we got to go face Langston at their place. Have you made any major adjustments?
Yeah, and a lot of it is also due to the health of your own team on, all right, what do I want to do and what can we do? And, where are we at right now with our team's health? So you always make your game plan things, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to execute your base system to succeed. And that's why I always say the issue is it's us. It's not the opponent. We've got to go out, and if we do our stuff well, we'll take care of business.
Well, looking at the health of your team, how are you feeling right now?
Pretty good. In week 7, 8, whatever it is, you're always going to have some bumps and bruises and nicks here and there, and that's true everywhere. That's part of the game. And, if there's someone that can't play, we have to have the next man up mentality.
Well, Coach, playing a team like Langston, and I know you mention it time and time again too, but you can't have mental mistakes, just some what I call frivolous mental mistakes, especially towards the end of a ball game, and if you're close.
Right. Yeah, you have to play sound football. They're so athletic and good at what they do, that they're going to make their plays. What you can't do is you can't give them plays. You have to make them earn everything that they get. And, and like I said, they'll make some plays and they'll earn some, and our guys will make some plays too, but we can't give them the cheap ones or the easy ones because we had a mental bust.
One thing that I know has been earned here in consecutive weeks, Sam Taylor come in and leading your team in tackles right now, back-to-back conference defensive player of the week too. I mean, talk a little bit about Sam real quick here before we let you down back with the team, Coach. I mean, he's just doing a phenomenal job for you.
He really is, and he's really become a nice leader for us. And Sam is a guy that works tremendously hard, and he's very detailed in his approach to being a college football player. He's a copious note taker. He's a high character kid, great student athlete, and obviously a great athlete. And things have just gelled together really well for him this year. He's excelling in the role that he's in this defense. And it's a credit to him with how hard he works and just what a great person he is all around.
Absolutely. There's a saying, and I was thinking about it during this portion of the interview. It said, uneasy is the head that wears the crown, Coach. And we're going into the Lion's Den today, and I say we knock that crown off.
Well, we are going to do just that and give it our best. And I'm confident that our guys are going to go out and play their tails off, and they're going to fight all the way to the end. We're going to see what happens.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this 2-minute timeout, starting lineups in the first of this ball game right here on 93 KZLE.